Steffi Magnetica, Ballanipatina down the outside, the inside Steffi Magnetica, Ballanipatina, they're the two, they hit the line, and Steffi's won the straight by Steffi Magnetica from Ballanipatina.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain, look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm one out at the Gold Coast. Walt, he's fallen sick off the plane. I've bounced through it. Absolutely no Frank Farmers, no dramas. But he's a little bit under the weather, and I think he's got a bit of a family issue as well. So hopefully that pans out well for him. But sad loss, big loss to the show. So all the John Walter loyalists, you can switch off now. But we'll spear straight down to Melbourne. DK, how are you, brother?
I'm good, Scoot. Yeah, I'm one out too. Nico's he's here, but he's not here. If you know what I mean. He's not next to me. He's on the Zoom. But good, Scoot. Big week, but all about Asfura, which we'll get to. That was so good. Yeah, plenty to talk about, but no, another quiet week of racing. Never a dull moment. So look forward to talking about it.
Nico, I missed a trick last week. Must have had the beer goggles on, but I do like the haircut. I don't know about if it's Samson's locks. I don't know how long you've been rolling the shorter hair, but I love it. Hopefully you're still backing winners as a consequence of losing the hair. You haven't lost your superpowers. But
no, I think I might have. I haven't really hit the scoreboard for a while, so yeah, maybe we have to go on back to sort of get back to backing a few winners, which is the most important thing, really.
Mate, what about Asfura? You've been burning the midnight oil? You've been watching it, sitting up watching it, or not interested or not bothered?
I watched her. I haven't really watched any other races. Just sort of coincidence. I was like, oh, it's running, and then it was never really in doubt, was it? She was travelling so well. It was a great ride. Sort of tagged that horse on the outside, and then once she let rip, you knew she was going to be right in the finish. I saw a bit of the vision of her on the TV from the yard, and she looked fantastic. She looked pretty much similar to what she did in the Oakland Plate, I thought, when that was probably one of the better parades I've seen from her, and she just didn't have anything go away on that day. So Henry's done a great job with her, as we've heard throughout pretty much all the media. He's done a great job to travel a horse over there and get it to win, but maybe a reflection of just, the fields over there. She's definitely not our best sprinter, and she won pretty comfortably. So we probably should have sent a few more over in hindsight.
Yeah, well, had the pills to take on the world. I think I've said it before. Uncle Chris, if he's watching, didn't take Winks to the Melbourne Cup after she smashed Hartnell, and then never set her for an arc. So if you got the pills, you can travel them and you can take them on and you can beat them. So great advertisement for our industry. DK, you've been sitting up watching it. You like all that pageantry and pomp and all the ascot.
Yeah, you're trying to bait me, Scoot.
What?
No, not me. Watch that stuff. Pass. Hard pass, but loved. I woke up to see this for a one, and so mate, Henry. Like few trainers get up my goat for their constant whinging and their, constantly grumpy and everything. But he, I don't know if you know Henry. He's one of the good guys. Henry, known him for a long time back at the old Caulfield days, and he's one of the good guys. And to see him get that done, it's fantastic. Great training effort. I think one of the old-fashioned with due respect and great. They were so loyal to Mitch Aitken, and they took him over and rode her in the first race, but. It's an old form guide, form analysis thing. Big plus jock. He might have got it to go better, a bit better. Ocean Murphy, world-class rider to Mitch. So, great to see her win. I was saying that he's a fifth or sixth stringer sprinter over here, but they can't take the good ones over there with the Everest. It'll just ruin the spring carnival, the spring aspirations. So, for them to pull it off, to plan it with her, I thought was fantastic and a great training effort.
Yeah, outstanding. And yeah, he's just such a good bloke, Henry. He's always got time for it, always says good day, so personable.
Yeah, he's absolute ripper. And what about the best part? Well, not the best part was what about Rod Lyons? What about Rod Lyons sending him that email to say, oh, you shouldn't be taking her. It's a blight on our previous splinters like Nature Strip. We've taken all the top sprinters there. You shouldn't be taking her. You're bound, this and that. And then he's gone and just jammed it right up Rod Lyons. So that was poor old Henry is feeling sick. He's got that in the back of his mind. He said he's walking up in the grandstand hoping to finish. He said, I had a sickly feeling that she was going to fail. Just hope we finish top 10 so we don't embarrass ourselves. Because he's got that bloody Rod Lyons email in the back of his head. And then she goes on and wins. I thought that was terrific stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that Rod was the only bloke allowed to have a horse that could do it and allowed to win races. So it's interesting. Yeah. Poor old Rod, he'd be crying into his cornflakes down at Mornington. He's a funny character, old Rod as well. Group 1 Stradbroke Day last week. Macbeth, John McLeod, too strong in his home deck. So poor old Walter had the had the Queensland shorts only and couldn't overcome John McLeod. So it was a bit of a war attrition. So it was 4,000, and I think Walt had his first Skinner. So Walt finally felt like what it was like to dust the bank. So it was a tricky day, and old Steffi Magnetica, forgive a horse one run is the big lesson, and in the worst part of the track. Just still burns a little bit for me, Nico. Couldn't get her across the line up the straight at Flemington, but what a progression. And speaking of training performances, good stuff from Bjorn Baker. It just goes to show you'll run out of horse before you run out of good races to run them in. Did you catch any of her?
Yeah, and like I was tipping her at Flemington that day. I think she was off a Bathurst and a Wellington win or something like that. And everyone was thinking, like, what's this horse's born? But you could always tell she had a bit of an engine. I definitely think she should be a Group 1 horse by the end of the season, but that's just a reflection of how those horses can improve. And she's done a really good job. And Bjorn had a good day, didn't he? With a leg run as well. I think they brought a leg run for like 35 or 40,000 off English Digital. Now he's back into the Cup, and he was sort of had a pretty hit and miss spring when they went to the Cup the last time, Godolphin, and he still was like, he was thereabouts as a chance. So that spring, so if they can get him back to anywhere near his best, I think he would be a genuine $21, $31 chance, which is a great result for them, given they didn't spend much for him. So he's the man at the moment outside of Henry, Bjorn, for sure. Gave
it a 12 out of 10 nod, Dildo Gibbons on it, and saved my bacon last week. I think it was one of the few winners that I found, thank crikey. But there was a horse a bit stiff in behind it that I can't quite recall. That might have been something to beat as well. But the other big news is Gill to Tabcorp. So he's bitten off a hell of a chunk here. I would have thought the easier gig would be down at RV if he could handle the head noise and trying to sort out that mess. But interesting one, DK. What's he going to do? Is he going to merge the totes? Is he going to buy out another player? Are they going to sell? Or is it going to be peace or war with PVL?
Well,
it's intriguing.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Gill, how he handles PVL, because he can handle Gill will be pretty good. So I'm not sure anyone can handle PVL, but no. Well, he was only in the running for the chairman of the board. It wasn't the CEO position, so I was only on the board down here, and then obviously. He could, if he had another CEO role in another industry or something, he could take the job, but it's too much of a conflict of interest being with Tabcorp, so he couldn't do both. Look, he's never been CEO of a public company or anything like that, so he's got or a wagering company, so he's got a bit to go there. But he's obviously very good in growing the game, growing the revenues. I mean, public company love that stuff. They're all about the returns to shareholders and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes. But the Tab, I'm a bit maligned. And do we finally get somewhere where you can bring people together and we can get a national tote? That'd probably be the hope of the side, because the Pari-Mutual's basically cast, isn't it? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But good. It'd be interesting to see what he can do.
It's a big artery of funding, so it'd be good if they can get it right. Would alleviate a lot of pressure around the grounds, is what I'm told. Today's show.
I'm just thinking, Scooty, what are we thinking now with the late? So that's him out of the race for the chairman. So I'll see. Are we still thinking Josh Blanksby's a good hope for the CEO role? I'm thinking, I see Munns has really endorsed Tim Rourke for the chairman role, and Tim Rourke is a good racing man. Plenty have been in racing a long time. A lot of horses with Danny O'Brien, good mate of his. So Munns has really pushed him, and I'm still thinking. I mean, it's been a long time. It's coming up at 12 months now. For that, so we've got to. I'm thinking Josh Blanksby might still be hope, wouldn't he, for the CEO role?
Yeah, there's some conflicting stories, depending on who you choose to believe, about how things ended up at Melbourne Racing Club.
Rightio.
A little bit of mail, run into a bloke at Crown, and that was an interesting conversation. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of happens in that space. So I think it definitely has the intelligence, has the vision, and
relationships.
Has all the right sort of credentials. And Racing Victoria are sort of bereft to make a decision at the moment about a lot of wage reductions. So everything's basically on hold, which is sort of somewhat embarrassing, and it probably says a lot about, I guess, the incumbent and the people in the joint at the moment. There's massive troubles headed in July at the end of this fin year in terms of their POC tax increases. And if they don't get spring right, more bodies are going to hit the floor. So I'm surprised they haven't made any changes and in regards to their race fields. And, lack of decisions and not getting who they want is the pattern that we see. So, it's a really precarious situation. But from everything I've heard and seen from Josh and his understanding, I think he's the right man for the job, and I think he'd be a much better suitor than if you.
Who else are they going to? I can't think of anyone. Are they going to get someone from outside racing? Like who inside racing's qualified to do it? Like with racing experience and Anyway, we'll watch this space, I suppose.
Maybe I think maybe an ex-CEO from another wagering company might fit the bill. Like someone like a Jason Scott type might emerge and be maybe a competitor without knowing. But I'm doing my best to try and get the goss. And I even sort of dug around Tabcorp to try and get a little bit of goss on Gil. But I need a little bit more time up my sleeve. So watch that space because, it's pretty important at the moment for, I guess, all our livelihoods and a lot of the bookies that are trying to operate under these testing and trying times. Today's show, let's look forward and a little bit of the rearview mirror, see how we went last week. But Donny, broadsiding last week. Everyone's talking Cox Plates and Faulkner Park, Caulfield Cups. So, it's it's only June, so we've got plenty of time for that. So no need to worry about that. We'll try and find a winner this week. And I think Donny's found one in Ipswich. Walt, as I said, he got bloused by In Flight. And again, he won't be on today's show. So hopefully things go well for him there. Nico, Crackerjack Prince, the place was good, but I tell you what, this new player, this Rob Todd, I thought he was an excitement machine on the stream. He marked, I think he marked Coral Lynn, your Geelong horse. What did he say, 50s or 60s? I can't quite recall, but he absolutely penned it and said, "What's he doing tipping these Geelong horses?" Oh, Nico,
did he say they were going to scrape it off the track? Which is what they did. Which is what they did. He was right if he did say that.
Nico, rebuttal.
Yeah, well, he was right, wasn't it? It went terrible. So we'll fly back this week with another Geelong. Hopefully we can get a result with them.
Oh, no. Back in there for more.
This one's got a bit more intestinal fortitude, I think, than the other one.
Fingers crossed. Broadsiding, I found it. That was my little squirrel for the meeting. Amanda were well back, Adelaide River well back, but both well-beaten camels. So we're going to battle on to Ipswich Cup Day and Eyeliner. Usually a meeting that I've done well in the past, so hopefully I get this one right. TopSport Steam, again, broadsiding, so it was the only horse that everyone found. But it was a tricky and a funny day for Stradbroke. They usually run pretty straight, and I thought that was a tricky one. TopSport is still betting best of the best on all Queensland Group Racing, so make sure you check that one out. And they got Protest Payout, Top Fluck, Australian owned and operated, and they're your number one shop for the Winter Carnival because we've sort of building to that crescendo of the Tats Tiara. So looking forward to that in a couple of weeks' time. You boys are sort of going off script here a little bit, and you're giving Flemington. Well, there's one race at Flemington, but we're going to have a look at Geelong on Friday first. So let's get straight into it on Friday. And Nico, you found one in race 2, and it is a Geelong horse. It's the Rex Gorrell Volkswagen Maiden Plate over 13-12 metres. And Treasure of the Moment is the Geelong horse. It's the favourite. You found it $2.70. Ignacio $3.90. 4 Ace $4.20. Snowden Secret $10. Obstructionist $13. Rhodesian Red $13. And then Loctay $20. Tell us why you like Treasure the Moment and its debut performance coming from the Matt Laurie yard.
Yeah, I thought it ran really well here. It was a race that rated quite well. The horse in the yellow cap, I think it was Dream Rider, had some really good form around Capital Express, was it? Or Angel Express?
Angel Capital.
Clinton McDonald. Angel Capital, that was it. The Clinton McDonald horse, and had some strong form through some other maidens. The winner was a $1.60 favourite and well backed. And I think with the margins back to probably a few slow horses back in the field, makes me think that the first few across the line are quite good here. And I love the way she just got to the line for that last 100 metres. And then if you watch her work through the line, she's even stronger. So when Geordie got the whip into the left hand there, she really responded well. And now she tackles an open maiden as a 2-year-old late in the season, which, but her and the other main chance I would have thought is 4 Ace, and they're both 2-year-olds. So seeing it a little bit in Victoria lately. There's a big winner last week at a Chuka Lofa that was a 2-year-old against the older horses and absolutely bolted it and rated through the roof, looking back on a few sort of ratings. So it's a good time of the year to find them. I don't mind the Alabama Expresses. They seem like they got a bit of a ticker. And I just like the way she hit the line that last probably 100 metres. She hadn't shown a heap at the jump out. So last jump out at Mornington, she was just doing her best work late. So I think this is a horse that really just improved on race day. Up in distance to 1,300 metres, stays at Geelong. The map's probably the only question mark, but settled in the first 4 over 1,200 metres, now steps up to 13 in a race with the older horses as well. I would expect they'd probably go a little bit slower than what they did in a 2-year-old race. So just putting our faith in Bo Mertens to get it right from the draw. The Danger's probably 4 who trialled well enough at Terrelgan. I don't think he's blessed with ability, but he has been gelded since his debut preparation, where he ran 4th at Moonee Valley and 3rd at Bendigo, gets Mick D on. He's probably the scary horse. Don't have a lot of time for Ignacio. Just think that it's got some okay form lines, but it's had 6 cracks at it and hasn't got within, hasn't won yet. So happy to watch it first up. And Wendy Kelly's runners do tend to improve with the run, but the stable is going very well recently. So I just thought Treasure of the Moment, maybe the best horse here. Going to need a nice ride from the wide draw, but right man for the job in Bo Mertens, and just could have a bit more upside than her rivals. So hopefully kick off the weekend on a good note.
DK, any thoughts here?
Yes. So that race that Nico's talking about Geelong, the Treasure of the Moment ago. So my team had one in that, and so I know that race very well. We had Princess Montecito in that, and so yes, I love that race. I loved it when I was sort of doing the form. I said, well, this could be a strong race. It'll be interesting to see how filly goes, and then they put that gap on the 6th horse or 5th or 6th or whatever it was, and then the sectionals came through, and yeah, these as Nico's right, these 4 or 5 have gone across the line there. Dream Rider had good form. Odin Dada was hammered on debut. The horse Nico's tipping was strong through the line. I think War Party had good form from the Adelaide Magic Millions or the wherever it was, and then we thought our filly's got a bit of talent. So yeah, I love that race going forward. 2-year-olds, it was over 1,200. It gives them scope to step up in trip. They've all got to turn a foot. So yes, no, I thought the only thing was the barrier 8. Like it did have the 1-1 there. So just need Bo to pull out a good ride, but I think all those 4 or 5. Hopefully, I'm up fingers crossed there that you can follow them all. They all look coming maiden winners, and Treasure Moment might be the first of them.
I just sort of, when I was looking at the replay, I thought, what's Nico found here? I think at 250 or 200 metre mark, the horse just dropped a bit, and I thought, oh God, it's going to tail out here. Why has he tipped this horse? But it picked itself back up and just kept revving, like building revs. And it was, as Nico said,
they were charging home, they were sprinting,
yeah,
like they were going good gallop home, and it's picked up, so it's a good sign.
Absolutely. So that definitely caught my eye when I saw the replay. So nice one there, boys. Good that you agree. DK, down the wicket last week, Alvaro Alpablaza Espinaza. Can he ride, or was it the horse's fault? What happened?
Probably both. That's why I suggested a peanut, and was under sufferance and the poly. Thank God, you got to tip on that shithole on one Friday, and then you got a beautiful meeting at Geelong with all good horses, and like ones we just spoke about this Friday. So it was probably, they're all tipping the favourite there, the shorty. It only fell in anyway, but I thought I was going for a little bit of value, but no, Alvaro, I think he rode a couple of winners in Bangladesh or something, but that's about his go. Might be his level. But at least we're going to Geelong too, aren't we, Scoot?
Yeah, outstanding. Geelong race 3. So it's going to be Geelong 2, Geelong 3. Let's have a look at the right mate maiden plate here, over 15 metres. Only Gold will do, $3.30. Dusty's Deal, $5.50. It's My Party, $6.50. Irifanai, $8.50. Rich Curves, $10. Hey Ruanga at $11. Jenny Jangles, $11. And then you got Shot at Night, $16, and much, much better. The rest, the horse we're going to have a look at here is Only Gold Will Do from the Liam Howley yard.
In the green, so in the Liam Howley green colours here, back on the fence. The winner is in the blue in the shadow roll, getting to the outside. It was sitting outside of it, got the clear running outside, chasing rezone. This, as opposed to them, Only Gold Will Do is just held up in behind them. And E. Brown's just trying to steer a passage, never pulls the whip on it at all. Gets up at hands and heels maybe for the last, from about here. It was about 30 to go. Actually was able to get into it. So arguably, if it was one off the fence where the winner was, it wins the race, and the winner probably gets held up. So, so that was a same track and distance. This horse went super on debut. If you go back to its debut run, it went like just go home like a steam train on debut at Bendigo. So I had that good base. I've always kept an eye on it since then. Just had trained off, went for a spell, came back, just was good first up, 2 runs. Things didn't really pan out for it race shape wise. I was just waited for it the other day. I nearly jumped in the other day and just waited. And then it showed to me there. I said, beauty, I'll be on you next start. And so I think E. Brown had a good feel of it there. He draws to be able to build some momentum here from midfield. I think it's a good course with good talent, and it can round this slot up. So Only Gold Will Do. I thought didn't like whatever they put up the second pick there at all. Dusty's Deal. I mean, I don't know why it's $5.50. It sat 1-1 the other day and just never went. It's a plugger. It's My Party was back in returning terrific order, but she took off at the 600 or 700 and had a bit of a tough run for a horse first up. I know it's a bit of a staying horse, so just might have gone a bit of a gutbuster first up for it, but it looks like it'll win a staying maiden. I think that was. But I think Only God Will Do looks to break its maiden here, Scoot.
Nico, thoughts?
Yeah, I was doing this race just before we went on air, actually, and yeah, that definitely looks to lead up. A few of these horses come out very slow on races, and that was the race that was a genuine run race, especially with the mid race move from the mare in those early in those sort of middle stages. So he didn't have a lot of luck there. It's hard camp to catch Liam Howley. He has a lot of horses that look pretty talented and sort of do what this horse is doing, just been through the motions a few runs, but there's definitely some ability there, and that looks like the right form. I even thought Hey Brawanga could maybe run a bit of a race out of that same race. I think their intention to maybe ride a bit more positive, be right up there. And
they probably looked for clear running. He got held up a little bit. He was the one in front of him, wasn't he? So he got a little bit held up as probably wasn't ideally suited. He would have
from
been
a wider draw. He might be able to push
on.
on. But yeah, couldn't. I tipped Only Gold Will Do. Thought he was extremely hard to beat his second start, and he bumped into a few good horses at Pakenham. So I've been aboard. So maybe time to jump back on.
Outstanding stuff. All right, so there's 2 for Geelong on Friday. Puntingform.com.au is what the boys use for their post race. So it's the next best possible step. Sorry, if you're going to be a full-time or semi-pro punter, and you can match your tape watching skills with the data there, and it's just so easy to cut through the form and cut down hours of form study if you use a tool like puntingform.com.au. Make sure you give it a run. Ipswich Cup Day is for me, and it's been beautiful weather up here. A little bit chilly in the morning, a bit dewy, but should be a good track there at Ipswich tomorrow. I think I've found one at giant odds here, which is going to be a big each way bet for me. And I tell you what, the Ipswich Cup and the Eyeliner are a bit tricky. 40 minutes it took me to get through the Ipswich Cup, which is probably a world record given I use punting form. But the first bet that we're going to have is in race number 5 in the River 949 FM Classics played over $13.50, and the favourite here is Orton at $4.40. Warby, one of mine, $4.60. The Face, $5. Standing Order, $7.50. Sailor Secret, $11. Crazy Train, $11. Ready for Anything, $12. And $16 is Without Revenge, and it's first up. And this is the horse I've found. So I'm going to play you 2 replays here, and you can just see it outside the leader in the Little Dance here. And the thing I like about this horse, they used it twice. So it carted across from barrier 15, and this is a huge run for Corey and Kylie Guerin. That was the first run that they had for this stable, and that was a serious race. The Little Dance. You got Spangler and you got Lions Roar, and these horses are dead set genuine. They're group level horses. And then here again, you can see him in the Ballina Cup here, Without Revenge. He's a horse that just keeps on going. If you get into him, and if Martin Harley gets into this horse early and puts him up on speed, he is a tough bugger to get past. You got a horse like Eaglemont trying to chase him home here, and that horse Eaglemont, he sort of measured up. He's measured up in group races. He went up there for the Archer, but he just sort of careers away from him. And I know these races are over sort of 1,500, 1,600 metres, but first up 1,400 or 1,350 on a leaders track like Ipswich, I just think it's absolutely madness that you can get sort of $16 and $4 the place. He's drawn barrier 9, use him early, get him up and rolling. He's going to take some catching. The big worry and the big danger here is a horse called Orton. This is an ex-Hong Kong galloper. It's in the white with the green here, just on the inside, and this is on the same day that Steffi Magnetica her wheels spun on that inside of the track, and a couple of these closes on the outside, I think they just found sort of like hot lanes. So he was absolutely jogging at this stage, and then he sort of got a little bit wayward and was running all over the shop late. But he's going to get a suck run from barrier 7. He might sit 1 or 2 pairs back. There could be a little bit of speed in this race, or it should be a genuinely run race, but I thought he was all honours there, and I think he's really suited in this race. And he gets a nice little weight swing as well. So I think a horse like Warby's really hard in the market at $4.60. He's going to be well out the back. You need to be a really good horse to win from well back at a track like Ipswich. Sailor Secret's the other one that sort of appeals at around the $11 mark, but he's lumped it with 60 kilos. Crazy trains in poorly at the weights from the Matt Dunn yard. And you've got the face from barrier 14. You got CJ Graham to deal with, and we caught one, and we were on the wrong end of CJ Graham yesterday, which was a tough watch at Doomben in the first race. So it was this just looks like an auto bet each way for me, and it's probably the keenest I'll be all weekend for a horse. So the horse is without revenge here, $16 and $4, and I'll be probably saving on Orton as well, and I've probably marked him as the horse to beat. I doubt you boys will have got to that one, but have any of you guys cast your eye on the Ipswich Cup?
I had a quick look at the ratings for that race, and a horse like Warby, he's going to have to improve a fair bit, even at the weights, to even match it with horses like Orton, and even without revenge, he's got one of the best peak ratings in the race. So you might be onto one there, Scoot.
Yeah, I'd just love to get a hold of Martin Harley and just make sure that he's Johnny on the spot. I don't dig just too deep into trials, but I went and had a look at the trial of this without revenge as well, because I was so horny for it, and especially the horse being first up. But I think if they're there to win, this is one of the bets of the weekend. So make sure you have something each way on this one, and I'll be absolutely loading it in anything I can find for the next couple of days, the place. So without revenge is the one for me. All right, let's have a look at the Ipswich Cup, and this is a bit of a nightmare to do, and there's just two ways to look at this race. You got Luncey's $3.80 favourite, Regal Line $4.80, June 45 $6.50, Brookhaven $8.50, Zoom on $10, King Frankel $10, Nick Our Spur $14, Encoder $15, London Banker $19, Warp Speed $20, 21 Red Wave, Desert Icon, runner up last year $26, and then you've got a horse like Port Phillip coming through the dashing form down at Caulfield, $31. Let's have a look at a couple of replays. The first one is Luncey's, and probably the right favourite, I think, from the market. It's the grey here in the Lord Mayor's Cup. You got Just Folk just having a picnic out in front. Horse like Knight's Choice has come out and run well since. You got Converge there, Territory Express. They're all decent horses here, and just looks like he's ready to peak. I would have thought Luncey's, and get sort of speed on and gets all the conditions of the race to sort of suit him in this one. The horse I think is the best value bet of the race, and I do note that he's been sort of $9 into $6.50 here, and it's the horse in the blue with the yellow, and he sort of looks like he's just whacking away. But this is a 2,400 metre race, and it's he's a shocker out in front with Allegron, who, as Nico alluded to, is in fine form and has come out and won since. But Dune 45, I don't know that it runs 2,400 metres, and this poor horse was 3 wide the entire and just still whacks away on the line. Like, he was entitled to drop right out of that race, I thought. And I think he's just gone on terrific there. And back to 2,150 is just perfect for him. I can see the market's just all over him. He's got a better rider. He's got Vlad Jurek, and he's drawn barrier 3. So he's going to spend no money at all. He's got a bit of a turn of foot. Like, he's got some great form over sort of 1,600 metres. So he's got that dash and he's got that sprint. And I think the horse is just absolutely on fire, this preparation. I think if you're looking for dangers, or I'm trying to scratch my head, I thought Zoom On was a little bit too plain first up, but knowing the Bott Waterhouse yard, I think he'll be probably targeted to this, and probably even more so, I guess, the Grafton Cup, and he'll start to bash up the New South Wales Cups. But I thought you could probably forgive his run last start. And then the other horse that I thought was interesting and just weird placement was Port Phillip. I thought he actually did pretty well first up, and just not sure if he's a horse that maybe needs one more run, but I thought he'd be a dangerous horse, sort of stepping up to a more suitable trip to the 2150. But yeah, I went round in circles, did 4 laps of the form guide here, and out of sufferance, I think the best play would be June 45. Did you have a look, Nico?
Yeah, I had a quick look, and I thought Zubon does have to improve a bit, but if he can get back to his best, he's definitely a winning chance here. Like, he went over to the Perth at the end of last spring and run some okay races over there. The form run behind him, Rain, would tie into this race, and even his run in the 5 Diamonds where he beat home Detonated Jack looks good enough for this. And that Lord Mayor's Cup, it was a race that, there's a bit of form come out of it since with Knight's Choice. Just Folk was flying. So that's just not really his go, 1,800 metres. If he can get a similar run to what he had in the Grafton Cup, where he just led and sort of run them into the ground, that really suit him around Ipswich, but it's just whether he's probably fit enough to do that. Second up, you'd hope so, but yeah, there's a few horses here like Regal Lion, Port Phillip, Nick Spur, that they've been around for a while. So Port Phillip's an interesting runner because when he was at his best, we probably thought he was going to be, like a country cup horse down here in Victoria, maybe Geelong Bendigo Cup. He ran well in the Bendigo Cup behind High Emotion the year she ran on to 1/3 of the Melbourne Cup. New stable, he was all right first up in a race where there's been a bit of form out of Muhammad, but it's just probably a question mark with him as well. How fit is he second up? Is he ready for a real genuine test? So can see why this race you could just go around in circles because the more you look into it, probably the more you'd find and the less clarity you'd probably have.
And that's the thing, like Regal Lion, he looks dangerous down at 53.5 kilos. But if you have a good look at the Premier's Cup, he was the run of Dune 45 was a much better performance, and they're both on similar weight marks. So and I could just see Dune 45 is going to spend no petrol at all. And as I said, you get Kai Wilson Taylor twice to then Vlad Jurek, who's white hot up there. So maybe do yourself a favour and back Luncey's or Dune 45, or then just put the race in the bin and do something else for 45 minutes because it is one of the biggest puzzles that you'll find this weekend. So as much as I was horned up for race number 5 and Without Revenge and how easy that jumped off the page, it was quite polar opposites for that one. Let's have a look at the eyeliner. This is an interesting contest and a much easier race to pull apart. It's $13.50. It's a quality. But What He Goes is a favourite here. $2.25. Fancify is $4.80. Jigsaw $5.50. Blazer Trail off 343 days as an interesting runner. Seamar, who else? $12. Military Expert $13. Rocketing by $15. Lost in Transit $15. Petronius $21. At Wits End $21. Sinawan $26. And much, much better the rest there. Let's have a couple of look at replay here. And it's What He Goes. Last start. And Yellow Brick wins this race, but I thought the effort of What He Goes was pretty good. Back on the inside there. And you could sort of make a case for What He Goes that he's just been super, super consistent. I know Walt's been tipping him on a sort of weekly basis, but they gave him no hope first up. Second up at Newcastle, he was sort of carved up. Didn't really pan out for that last race last weekend, but he bolted in the start before at Doomben. So I can see why he's come up 225 favourite with 55.5 kilos. But the real X-Factor horse and a horse on an upward spiral is probably one that you'll know a little bit more about, Nico, is this Fancify. And I think the key to this horse or this mare is she's just out and out 1,400 metres. The only times that she's really got beaten is when they stretch her out to a mile. And I thought she did all the work here on this day at Flemington, and that's Jenny Jerome running into second. She's sort of a Group 3 winner. She's no slouch and a good closer on a day, but she's just got serious upside, and this just looks like a horse that's chasing, a little tick off for black type. She gets in at 53 kilos. We'll have to work early, but that's probably not a bad thing. And Aidan Thompson's not bad on a front runner if you're looking for jockeys down in the weights up in Queensland. So I thought she was a progressive mare looking to chase that black type performance, and I thought she was definitely the horse that I'd rather take from a price perspective, sort of $5.50, $4.80, $6 sort of around the place. Just needs a half decent ride, and hopefully she can hold a rating there. Did you have a look, Nico?
Yeah, I did. I thought I'd probably more want to be against her. She couldn't have much more favours on that day than what she did. It was a good day to lead. There wasn't really any chasers in that race. They all go around $6, $7 hopes in the mare's race on Saturday. So, there was nothing in behind her that was jumping out of the ground. Jenny Jerome, she got beaten Tassie in one of the mare's races. So I think What It Goes brings in just much stronger form. There will be maybe a bit of love for her. That last start rating is quite strong, and she could get some map favours here, but if What It Goes can't get past her, well, I just think that form's much stronger. Blazer Trail's first up. Still not over him, was in this race last year, where he was more beaten. Jigsaw's got himself out of the wheelchair up in Queensland, but I don't know if I trust that he's going well enough to win a race like this. So I backed him last up, What It Goes. I thought he half missed the boat there. J-Mac just 20 out of 10 on yellow brick, and What It Goes, he just copped that, didn't he? He had to sort of make a run where he probably should have gone a bit earlier to catch that horse, but he's really strong to the line. And if he gets any luck from one, I would have thought he just about wins. But that was my read on the race. I just Fancify's last start, such a peak off a run that she had everything go away. Like, surely up in grade, it just doesn't go that well for her.
My query with What It Goes, he's now going to be probably hem back in on the fence. There's a fair bit of speed drawn in this race, so there's a big chance that a couple fall in his lap. It'd be a different scenario if he was drawn sort of, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8, where he could, be clear off that fence. But from a map perspective, I thought he's going to be buried. He goes Ormond to Thornton, and the other negative against, he's sort of dropping back from 1,500 metres, so he has to come back in trip as well. So he's going to go back in trip, got a worse jockey, and there's just going to be potentially things fall in his lap. But I thought there were reasons to be sort of, to bet around him at 225. But he's the obvious sort of class horse. There are a couple of horses that I thought might be jack-in-the-box sort of dangers. Military Expert, I thought should be ready to peak, but gets CJ barrier 10, so good luck with that. I thought Rocketing Buyer is a horse that may not be suited by this amount of tempo. I think its best runs is where they go slow, and then it can just sort of accelerate off there. Robbie Dolan, probably a good rider and will suit. And then Petronius is a horse that I thought had a bit of X factor about it. I thought really good behind Ready With Anything in an unsuitable 1,000-metre last start. And I think there's been merit in a couple of its performances in this preparation. And the Lockwood Camp's obviously a money stable as well. So if there's any money for Petronius, I'd be wary for that. And then at Wits End's a horse that's going pretty well as well. So if you're looking for wide numbers, or if you want to get away from What It Goes, that's how I'd sort of play it. But any queries with What It Goes, Nico? Inside, sticky map, worst jockey, back in trip, fifth up maybe?
Just need luck. Sort of last year in this race with Blazer Trail, if you're the best horse and you get a bit of luck, it can go your way. You just probably didn't have just enough to win that race. But I think if you can get a little bit of luck from barrier number 1, given that you might get a lot better than $2.25, given there might be a few punters that are a bit not willing to part with their money at that short a price. But if he gets the luck, it just looks like he brings in such superior form to his rivals.
We shall see. All right, let's big thanks to our sponsors, Racing Queensland, for helping us out this winter carnival. And make sure you check out their website. They've got Steward Visions, race replays, stride length, and we've got probably a month to go now, which is great stuff. Helps us get us through the winter break, because down south there's been so many abandonments around the New South Wales area, and it gets tricky. And down in Melbourne and Flemington, the same horses just go running around in circles. So great carnival, the Queensland Racing Carnival, and I've been enjoying it immensely. Nico, your best bet on the card at Flemington comes up in race number 8. It's the Brian Beattie quality over 2,000 metres. An interesting race here. Got Lady in Pink 480. Elude is $5. Steel Run $5. Aztec State $8.50. Bellington Gate $9. Zambezi Khan $10. My Xanadu $12. Bogger Legend. I thought it was Booger Legend there, named after DK when I first had a look at it. $16. Tacumwa $26, and then Rezone $26. You're shopping outside the market here, and Boga Legend is the horse that you like. First up at Geelong last time.
Yeah, I did this race without seeing the market, and I thought he'd be like $6, and he's 14. Like, this was a huge run last start at Geelong, settled back in a race where they went along a little bit, but he's just too far back. He comes home in the quickest closing splits of the race, pretty much. The 4 to the 2 is the second fastest, so that suggests to me he's probably looking for a bit further. Last 100 metres, definitely his best work. Just kept coming to the line. That was his third run this campaign at 17 or 1,600 metres, so he looks desperate to get out in distance. His first up run was over 1,700 at the Bull, where he ran second at Cotton Tree, who come out and since run third at Flemington, a race where you can tie a lot of these horses into. The lead up was the Lady in Pink race, where there were some good runs in there. Aztec State and Steel Run were doing their best work late, but as we see with a lot of these 3-year-old races deep in the season, there's just not much between a lot of them, and the DF can be very much underrated. And, you can tie him in to this race with True Cotton Tree. He's since won at Pakenham in a dominant style. And then last start, he was just given no hope from back in the field. So 2,000 metres and dropping in the weight, like he goes from carrying 59 kilos down to 54, draws a barrier number 4, and steps up in distance. Just ticks every box for me. So, bit like you, Scooty, with your each way horse earlier in the day, I think this will be mine for the day, where if he's running a place, it'll be a great result, because I'd nearly have him 440 the win and he's 440 the place. I just don't have a huge opinion of anything else in this race. And he just seems like he's perfectly set up. So very, very happy playing at $16. Think he should be much shorter, and wouldn't be surprised if the market found him late. The career runner is probably the Kiwi runner, and gets B Shin on from the Pike stable. He seems to know the right horses to bring over here. Just led and dominated its last 2 runs in New Zealand. Comes here at $5. Going to have to work from 16 to get to the front. But it's probably the other one that brings in a different form. And then you got Lady in Pink and, Steel Run, Aztec State, a few of the others, Zambezi Khan. You pretty much have the first 5 or 6 from that race going to war again here. So I'm happy enough to be against that event and look for a bit of DF. And Booger Legend was definitely one of them.
DK, you know a few of these?
Yeah, well, I know Boga Legend well, so I was happy to see Nico find it. So it resumed at 1,700, and then it went to the maiden at Pakenham, and I think, was that Rezone or something was in it, or some Mick Price thing anyway. I like the Mick Price horse. I think I tipped it because I thought this thing wanted more ground, and Mitch was dropping it back to a mile. So then it pissed in there, had the right run, and Rezone sort of failed a bit, and then it stayed at 1,700. He would only put it up to 1,700 again the other day. As Nico says, very good run. Wyden come around him. He had to save ground to be on pace there. So, yes, stepping up to the 2,000, which is probably what it's wanted for the last 2 starts. Maybe one sting out. He's a grey. It wouldn't hurt him for a bit of sting out. But, a bit of different form. I mean, the knock on that race the other day was that Lady in Pink sat 3 wide the trip and still beat them all. That's a bit of a knock on that race to me. So I wasn't surprised the different form. And then the Kiwi's obviously the interesting runner, but he's got to do it on the dry. He won on the heavy 10 the other day, but even like I was potting a few B Shin. They looked short yesterday. B Shin was on them. They go forward. It's just always dangerous when he's on them. They won Nation's Call, and the other one just got beat by Pythagoras or whatever. But if he wasn't on them, they don't get any. They probably don't even get close. So B Shin on a go forward horse is always dangerous. But then they're all going to progress. I mean, this is the 3-year-olds this time of year at this distance. There's a final. I think there's this race, and they all go to the final over 2,500 in 2 weeks' time on that, Vobus Day or whatever it is, the Silver Bowls and all that day, a couple of weeks' time. So they'll be pressing on to the 2,500. Whoever, I'm tipping most of these they run well.
Yeah, I thought Steel Run was a bit interesting. I sort of fell into it last start, and
the barrier just needed to draw well, didn't it, Scoot? I mean, draw poorly there, and we got back, and now he's drawn the car park again, hasn't it? So
yeah, exactly. I saw it in the form guide. But as soon as I saw barrier 17, I lost me Steffi for it.
It might be the one in 2 weeks. It'll run for the 2,500. If it draw, if it, gets runs well, gets home, runs well here, because I reckon it'll stay.
Yeah, it should keep whacking away. But if Nico's got that amount of confidence for Boga Legend, thinks it'll be should have been a $4.40, $5 a favourite. Happy to play each way with confidence there. So $16 and $4.40 at TopSport Boga Legend. All right, now it's time for Don's Best. He's back. He had the picket fence building nicely. Then he got jammed, but broadsiding was too strong here, and now he's going to play at Ipswich on Saturday.
G'day, boys. Best bet this weekend is Ipswich Race 6, number 3, Golden Decade. Jobs back in class, looks to get full control of the maps. Taking on a few decent Melbourne horses, but they're going to be well back in the field. He's going to be riding the speed around the tight Ipswich track. I think it's a great each-way bet at $6.50. Good luck.
Whoa, not sure what's doing.
Sure, he's borrowed that off his missus, hasn't he? Jesus.
What's going on there? That can't be unseen. Is that his? I don't know if it's his daughter's dressing gown.
It's an hoodie, isn't it, or whatever they call it? Wasn't it? What they call them, hoodies?
An hoodie, or I don't know what it is, but sure. I might challenge Donnie to wear that out in public. That one, that's an absolute beauty. It's the pink bluey hoodie or dressing gown or some sort of scenario. Old Donnie. I didn't know he's into dress ups. But
what did he tip after all that? I couldn't get my eyes off it. What did he tip?
Race 6. Race 6, number 3, Golden Decade, $5.50. So it's against Hedge. They're trying to kill this Hedge.
Taking on the Victorians, yeah.
What's going on here? And Miss R is an interesting one. I know she was in last week and got scratched, so they must have saved her for this one instead. But she looks like she's got a motor.
Yeah, she's best ridden quiet. She's flying. She's been flying this prep, but we'll sit off him, I suppose. Was he saying this thing's going to jump and be hard for him to catch?
And obviously Hedge has got that Ostraka form, but and that's where we sort of sunk the boots into it last week at the shorts. It went off 350 and got beaten by 3 lengths. So it's just I just don't know why they just keep persisting with these horses. They're just chasing so much prize money. They're just crazy, these trainers.
There was a pretty average ride on Hedge. Like he didn't have a lot of chance, but the up and distance is definitely a query for him.
Yeah, a bit pooey there. But Ipswich race 6, number 3, Golden Decade. So Donny's pretty confident, and he's wearing the pink hoodie or whatever it is. So might have to get the developed print. So a little bit of homework for Donny. We want to see what that real kid is, and yeah, it's quite disturbing. But we've already got Walt. He likes dressing up, and so does Donny. Must be a Queensland thing. Heaven help me. Morphettville, let's have a look at the TopSport Steamers. Broadsiding, familiar tune they got last week. They needed to. The first bet here is Hype Man. Race 5, number 3. Matt Laurie's taken one over, yes, as tipped on this show a couple of starts back. Yeah. So $3.60.
From Pantherland got you, Nico. On the line.
Happy to forget about that, but that's what he's turned into, Hype Man. He's turned into a bit of a bridesmaid recently, so he needs to break through again.
Be interesting drawn wide. He's always... I mean, he'll roll forward. He's got the pace to roll forward. But he's interesting to see gradually rolling forward for the different rider, T. Pennell. If that suits it, he's never drawn a ball in his life. He's always poked up on the inside, or so he's drawn wide there. So that might suit him, sort of rolling across the field for the first time in his life.
They might leave him in Adelaide, Nico.
Probably.
They probably should.
The way he does, he seems. I don't know if he has a fall on crack. I think there's been a few times where he really probably should have put away a race and he hasn't. So. Obviously, that early money suggests he's probably going to start shorter, but I don't know if you want to have your last on him.
Yeah, outstanding. Flemington race 2, number 11 is the next one. Merzan. Another horse that probably should be in Adelaide after last start. Would have burnt so many punters. 2,500 metres. Oh.
I sunk the boots into it because it was fresh. It was like he was going to back up, wasn't he? What was that, 2 weeks ago or a week ago? The Waller put him in the backup, which is what the hell was he backing him up for off the poor performance? So it was fresh in the mind of doing their ass on it. But I think about it, and then saw the early money for it. Had another good look at it. I mean, it's back to Flemington, 2,500. Frosty said it wanted further. I mean, it's run by the prior Flemington was terrific. We're speaking of Steffi Magnetica off the bad one, bounced off it. This one couldn't bounce off the bad run. If you're forgiving, it looks a nice race for it.
Oh, I'd rather dig deep into that race, and I'd be backing a couple of
Aberfeldy boy. I mean, Aberfeldy
has
boy
to be a better horse.
Had a setback, the Lionel's off the bad one as well. So yeah, it sort of wasn't though. There was one there because beauty. I'm really keen for it to. I don't know. Nico might have had a better quicker look than me, but that's my look at the race.
Isn't like Farrago's absolutely flying? Like I thought he was super in the.
He's going good.
Yeah, and it's sort of like the Sandown Cup, and even a horse like. The Tyrannosaur, if you can forgive its last start. Crikey, $3.70 about a possible camel Merzan. Nico?
Yeah, I saw the race and just thought, I'm going to give this a miss. There's too many unknowns in that race. Like I think Lionel's got ability, but yeah, the Ramsden was well back, but he was disappointing. The first up run, we go back a while now. It was Mornington Cup Day, so it's not really recent form, is it? So yeah, leave me out.
When on perfection, he's not the first horse to fail at Caulfield first time, and then so I'll tell you this: what everyone's done here is back to Flemington. They go back to his previous Flemington run. He was good, wasn't he? So I assume that's the early market. But yes, no, I'm not one to jump back in after they let me down when they're favourite.
Very, very scary. $5 into $3.70. Flemington race 4, number 9 is Electric Impulse for the white hot Henry Dwyer, Group 1 Ascot trained man. $9 into $5.50. Are they playing up the Asphora money here or what?
Yeah, ooh. This has got a good hope. This I know her well. I think I might have when she won her maiden. I might have tipped her on the show, Bendigo. He rode her upside down. Houston led on her first up. Don't know why he did that. She's not a leader. Then she was one of those umpteen forgives at the ball. Had this beautiful jump out leading into Flemington the other day, and what looked a good race for her benchmark 78 fillies and mares, but just ended up buried back on the inside. Charged for the line late. draws to build momentum here, and a similar, even though it's benchmark 90, similar horses, all those horses from the other day, plus a couple of others. Look, she is a superior wet tracker. I'd be really confident if it was soft ground, but the trial on the dry and the last one on the dry, she's in good order. I think she'll be zooming down the middle here. Electric Impulse. What do you think, Nico? You had a look?
Yeah, I backed her last night, actually. I backed her and Jenny Jerome, and they were just, they were just never a chance the way the race shape worked out. But that's probably the thing with this race. There's a few girlfriends, Jenny, Balsavoie, Ballet Rouge. I've been on a few of them recently. So it's a typical mare race. Someone will put their hand up, but seems like the South Australian brings in, a good sort of line of form where she's probably not mixing her form as much as a few of the others. But I didn't really have a great look at it again, just because I sort of saw the first few and just said, this would be impossible. So good luck if you're keen to get involved.
$9 is a nice price in hindsight. The last steamer here is Ipswich Race 1, number 10 is Payline. This horse was a super run back at the Magic Millions Carnival going back a while. Back in January, she was a bit of an eye catcher there behind a horse called Barassi, which is one of Donnie's girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever he is. But broke through in the Class 1 a couple of weeks ago, Payline, and broke the maiden at the Sunshine Coast on that soft deck. So chasing a hat-trick of wins, always had an ability and got a bit of a finish, but I haven't got that far into that race, but bit of a step in class again, and there's a few consistent sort of horses that hit the same sort of mark. So interesting bet, that one. But horse does have talent, but has got plenty of head noise as well. So interesting to see how that goes. All right, I think that's a wrap from us this week, and that's our. So there's no Sydney this weekend without old Walt, but fingers crossed we can have a big day at Geelong Friday, and we can butter up on Saturday with Flemington and plenty of winners at Ipswich Cup. But that's it for me and Nico. Hopefully it's not the haircut, and Blues Friday night against the Cats, surely.
They always seem to beat us, Geelong. So I went to the last game with a few sort of Cats supporters, and they absolutely gave it to me. So hopefully the Blues are performing better than they did on that occasion. But we did have no backline then, so hopefully they get the job done. But they're no morals, so I wouldn't think they're absolute morals like the market sort of thinks.
Yeah, big D-Day. If you can't put away the Cats on Friday night, you may as well plan holidays in September. DK, good luck on the weekend.
Thanks, Scoot. Yes, busy weekend. I've got road trip Saturday afternoon. I've got Junior Isaac's got a big swimming carnival down at Leongatha. So
wow.
He's got a big program there, trying to get him qualified for the Metro Short Course Championships in a month's time. So little family road trip down there to get him swimming. He is flying at the moment. So Junior, so hopefully, and then bounce straight into Junior Footy Sunday. So it's just getting to the pointy end of the season. We're sitting second on the ladder and going all right, the kids. So I love weekends hard to beat with the kids' sport and all that. Plus the racing, of course, but best of everything.
Crikey, DK, there's your little angle to move the Gold Coast. You got Southport, you got Miami, big swimming areas, all the Olympians.
He was saying, we were watching the swimming trials the other day, of course. They were on that. Great view. I don't know if you caught any of it. It was great to watch. And the race was dominated by Queenslanders. There might be one Victorian, one South Australian, but Isaac was asking why they're all from Queensland. And it's because the universities, Griffith and Bond and all that, you can go to university up there and be part of the elite swim teams and all like that. So kids they get taken from down here, they go and move up there, go to the unis up there and part of the big swim teams up there. They're sort of more like a college, a bit like the college system in America, not as much, but if he keeps going, it'll open some doors for him, and he's a big unit now, so he's got a size edge, that's for sure.
Oh, you have
so
to
we could
work
be
on
up there, Scoot, not out of the question. We've got a mate who's moved from Mount Gambier to Noosa because his daughter's a gun 12-year-old swimmer, and she got offered a spot up there, and they upped from Mount Gambier to Noosa. It's not a bad swap, so we could be neighbours again. So Scooty, look out. Keep him
we
going,
are
Junior.
a Queensland racing show, so it's just a matter of time.
Right, that's right, it is too. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be good? DK just hanging around Gatton-esque and doing all the form around these absolute...
Jump in the car with Nat Hinkley, yeah? See Nat? You follow her you follow Nat on Facebook, she's moved up there. She's parked in one of the bloody apartments there at the big house, and all these little meetings, she's bookmaking, trying to get in all these little meetings at Esk and this and Warwick and here, there. She's going every weekend and bookmaking at all the little out wide meetings. Yeah, Nat.
Find your leader, DK. It's beautiful business up here. A matter of time, I'm telling you, you will be up here. So go, Isaac. Hope
That's it.
he
It's all revving up,
gets the
Scoot.
job done at Leon Gather.
That's it. A bit of a different temperature there than it would be at Miami.
All right, good luck on the weekend, and make sure you're betting with TopSport. Check out Punting Form, and we'll see you next week for more of the show. See ya.